So since we went ahead and put FIFA 20 to the test, I thought that now FIFA 21's out, it would only be fair to do the same. This is going to be interesting. So as FIFA 21 has all the updated teams and everything like that, all the updated player ratings, I thought that we put it to the test, simulate this championship season on FIFA 21 to see what the outcome is. If you've not watched it, we did this for FIFA 20 and I think it's fair to say that that came out with some interesting results, so we'll see if FIFA 21 delivers the same. Just before we do head into anything though, a big shout out to our sponsors over at OneFootball. As always, you can find the new OneFootball app in the top line of the description down below. Really handy football app as we are now into this new season, obviously currently now going into an international break, but if you want to get transfer updates to your phone, obviously the domestic market is still open and OneFootball is really handy to have for that. Also to get live updates to your phone whenever the goal does go in around the footballing world, and to keep up to date with all the recent stats and everything like that, OneFootball link down below. So if we do hop on to the game and have a look at each team, obviously FIFA's got all the updates that have recently gone and things like that, and I thought today's video we'd see a little bit more of a realistic version of things. Blackburn Rovers, I was interested to see what they went ahead and gave the rating to Dolan. They've only rated him 62 on this year's FIFA. I think that's definitely going to be bumped up sooner rather than later, isn't it? But nevertheless, it's going to be an interesting experiment to say the least. We'll just go through all the teams here. Obviously, I'm interested to see once again what happens to Sheffield Wednesday. We'll apply their 12-point deduction to see where they come out on top in the table in the end. But no doubt some of the relegated clubs are going to be coming in strongest. I mean, if we look at Watford here, 4-star rated team in the Championship is unbelievable. So we will be going into career mode with this. Speaking of career mode, do you guys want to see it this year? Let me know in the comments down below, but we may as well go in with Preston North End as it is the team that I support. We'll advance through that. So we'll be going ahead and simulating to the end of the season. I'm interested to see what FIFA comes out with, really. I mean, it's been quite an unpredictable start to the Championship season in general, really. We've already seen 2 managerial changes. Obviously, Struber has left Barnsley, and we've also seen Sabri Lamucci depart from Nottingham Forest, and they've already gone ahead and appointed Chris Hughton. Forest fans, I'm very interested to get your perspective of that one in the comments down below. We'll see where Forest are placed on today's video. I'll touch on them in a little bit more detail as we do go on, but we're just going to go ahead now to the calendar, get all the way to the end of the season and see what FIFA comes out with. Like I say, it's going to be an interesting one to see how FIFA compares with last year's version of the game, if they line up with their opinions or not. Obviously this one you'd expect to be a little bit more accurate with the updated teams, but let's now simulate to the end and see what FIFA come out with. So here we go, we have now reached the end of the simulation. Now I do have something to admit, I may have been sacked at Preston halfway through this season, but fear not, I did manage to get another championship job with Rotherham. I didn't have a look at the table halfway through, so I'm interested to see where we are, but I am now the manager of Rotherham United after being sacked at Preston, so that may tell us how North End have got on in this simulation. But let's back out of this and let's take a look. So already I can see my Rotherham side have been relegated in 23rd position there, but interesting, coming in at the bottom of the table, we do have Barnsley, so we'll start at the bottom and then work our way upwards. So listen, Barnsley needs to get this next managerial appointment right. Losing Struber is a massive blow to them. I know they didn't start out this season particularly well, but even so, the performance levels were there in some of their matches. I think in some instances they got quite unlucky. You know, we go back to that Reading one when they had those 2 red cards. They were very much on top of that game until that happened. I think that Barnsley, quite similar to some of their games last season, the performance levels were there, not having those finishing touches going forward. After that, we then get to Rotherham United, who are sat in 23rd. Now, Rotherham so far, I think, have adapted fairly well to Championship life. I do still think that from open play, they need a little bit more going forward. You know, the Championship's a long season. You know, we'll all go back to the example of how well Charlton started last season, and they obviously ended up getting relegated. But defensively, I think they're building on a good foundation there, and I think that it'll be a competitive season for them. 22nd's got to be a surprise. QPR coming in there. Now, we spoke about it on yesterday's video, but I like quite a bit of the business that they did on deadline day. QPR, they brought in a couple more dynamic wingers. I like the forward additions. Obviously, replacing someone like Eze for his goals, assists and creativity was never going to be easy, but I think they've softened the blow with some of the additions. You know, Dykes and Bonn are 2 very different strikers that will give them a little bit more presence going forward. Luton Town 21st, I think they could be a little bit higher than that. They started this season out really well. Nathan Jones has a plan there. Maybe the biggest surprise so far is Wycombe in 20th. Now Wycombe, I'd like to get your guys' views on them in the comments down below so far. It's been a tough start for them, and I think that this international break, they just need to take a step back and hit the reset button. I know they still have 1 or 2 players to come back from injuries. We'll see if they manage to give that squad a bit of a lift when they do get back to full fitness, but scoring goals has been their problem so far and conceding goals early on. Coventry in 19th, they've been an interesting one so far, a little bit up and down with their performance levels, but they have been competitive. I think when you catch them on a good day, it's a system which can be quite frustrating to go up against at times. Swansea in 18th is a massive surprise. Now, the work there that Swansea have done in terms of building up this young team and then adding a little bit of quality with these loanees coming in, very similar to last season. Morgan Gibbs-White, already a massive fan of him. His creative output's there for everyone to see. Gyökeres coming in on loan from Brighton for the season, I think will be a nice addition as well. We've spoken previously about them needing a striker, someone to help out alongside Jamal Lowe and Andre Ayew. I think that Gyökeres does that. We'll wait and see what unfolds with the Joe Rodon situation, but I cannot for the life of me see Swansea being that low. I think they'll be top 8 at least this season. Derby 17th, it's not been the greatest starts to the season for Derby, but there is the feeling that that win at Norwich may be a change in their fortunes for this season. Obviously Wayne Rooney with that real moment of quality. Listen, I like some of the additions that they made in the transfer market as well. I think that they will eventually pick themselves up. They've not convinced me that they will be the top 6 outfit that I potentially thought they were at the start of the season, but I think they'll be competitively in mid-table, maybe pushing up to the top 10. Huddersfield 16th, I think that Huddersfield fans will probably take that at the moment. Obviously it's a bit of a transition year. I think the football that Carlos Corberán wants them to play is slowly starting to develop. Obviously going from the Cowleys to Corberán was always going to be a little bit of a shift in dynamics, so going to take a little bit of time. We're still waiting to see what happens with the Colin Grant situation as well on that one. Middlesbrough in 15th, they could be a side who surprise a few this season. I think that under Neil Warnock so far they've been a tough outfit to go up against. Chuba Akpom's already been in the goals as well. I think that he adds a little bit more firepower alongside British Sumbalonga and Ashley Fletcher. Blackburn Rovers in 14th. Another side who I hate to admit it, they have been on absolute fire so far this season. No team is averaging more shots per 90 at this point in time than Blackburn Rovers. It's that brilliant dynamic forward three that they're going with. I know they blanked in their latest game last weekend against Cardiff, but even so, Blackburn will score a lot of goals this season, and at the moment you'd be placing them a lot higher than 14th in the prediction, wouldn't you? 13th place, we then have Reading, another one of the fast starters this season. Now, Reading have been a really interesting one to look into so far this season, because I looked into their underlying stats a little bit more before I did this video, and they've actually averaged the least amount of shots per 90 in the Championship so far this season, even fewer than Wycombe, which is really interesting given how many goals they've scored so far. It would be perhaps a testament to how clinical they've been. You know, Lucas João, Puskas has been in the goals, some great creative options. They could very well fall off a cliff, or they could keep it going. They've got a very talented squad in there. Preston 12th, I don't have too many complaints about that. I think that we'll be a prediction for Preston at the moment, you could probably put us anywhere from like 14th up to maybe 6th or something like that. You know, we'll wait and see how Emile Reece goes ahead and adds to our forward options, but we saw from the game at the weekend against Brentford, we have that energy and that ability to press anyone really. You know, if we can pick a result up away at Brentford, you'd think we can go toe to toe with anyone. Millwall in 11th, another fairly reasonable prediction. So halfway through this, I'd say that FIFA's not had all too many stinkers so far. There's been 1 or 2 dubious ones, but certainly they've been more accurate than FIFA 20's predictions so far, who had some really outlandish predictions. 10th place Cardiff City, once again fairly accurate at the moment. I'd probably have them in and around this part of the table if I had to make my predictions again. I think that some games things just haven't quite fallen their way. Obviously the Blackburn one, they had the red card to Lee Tomlin, a couple of others where they let in some sloppy goals, but they look good away at Forest where Kiefer Moore bagged his first 2 goals for the club. Sheffield Wednesday all the way up in 9th place, so if we were to apply that 12-point deduction for Sheffield Wednesday, that would see them on 58 points, which would have them 14th in this table. To be honest, I'd be surprised if they picked up 70 points in real life, but it's been a fairly promising start for Wednesday so far. I think that they've looked better than they were at the tail end of last season when things seem to be getting really toxic around the club. I like some of the options they've got going forward. Windass is always an option to run in behind. Adam Reach even seemed to pick up his form lately. I like the balance of the midfield. You know, Luongo, Bannon and Izzy Brown I think have good balance between them. The only thing I worry about for Sheffield Wednesday is if they do hit a bit of a rocky patch in their season, you know, they go 6 or 7 games without a win or something like that, and they are still on minus points, that's when the tide could start to turn and the negativity just feeds into negativity. But at the moment, I think Wednesday fans are feeling fairly positive about their chances. Birmingham in 8th, that'll be a terrific season for them, building under Isa Karanka. I think we've already seen the impact that Karanka's had on that Birmingham squad so far, especially in terms of defensively. You know, they have been a really rigid side, tough to come up against so far. Just need a few more sparks going forward. They certainly have the personnel in there. You know, I think that in terms of players who can play off the front three, Birmingham have got a whole bunch of options. You know, if you've been watching the channel for a while, you'll know how much I love someone like Jeremy Bella. Dan Crawley as well, I think, could have something to offer for them this season. Stoke in 7th. Now, Stoke did make it into a lot of people's top 6 predictions this year. Like in previous years, really, I held back on it because they've just made me look silly one too many times. For Stoke so far this season, it's been, I'd say, a little bit of an indifferent start, really, wouldn't you? We've mentioned it previously. Could they drop that 5 at the back system when they are playing at home and take the game to the opposition a little bit more? You know, in away games, I think it works quite well. They did very well against North End, but that's one to see. Making it into the top 6, we then have Nottingham Forest. Now, this is an interesting one because they have been absolutely woeful so far this season. It's been a crazy transfer window where it's been sort of like a revolving door with players coming in, players going out. Sabra Lamucci has now departed and Chris Hughton has come in. Can Chris Hughton be the man to guide Forest into the top 6? He's certainly got an exceptional record when it comes to championship management. I mean, his championship CV is second to none. When it comes to promotions, Chris Hughton is the man that you turn towards, isn't it? In terms of style of football, it is quite conservative, similar to Sabra Lamucci, but he just seems to be so effective with it. So will he be the man to turn Forest fortunes around? There's certainly a lot of talent in that squad. I'd love to get general fans of the Championship's views on that one. 5th place, we have Bournemouth. I actually think I maybe underestimated Bournemouth at the start of the season because so far they have looked very good. I think they'll score a lot of goals going forward. They've managed to keep hold of more players than I thought they actually would. And yeah, like I say, if they had maybe a little bit more depth in a couple of areas, I think Bournemouth are looking good for this season. 4th place, we have Bristol City, another side who I was a little bit not sure about coming into this year, mainly because of manager Dean Holden and his unknown track record. There's no questioning the quality in that Bristol City squad. Summer recruitment, absolutely brilliant. Chris Martin so far has already shown his class, bringing others into play with those 3 assists he's got for this season so far, could even be 4. 3rd place, we have Norwich City. A lot of people were backing Norwich for the top 2 this season, myself included. So far for them though, it's not quite clicked, has it? It's always a difficult one to bounce back from a relegation, especially for a side like Norwich who were getting, you know, pretty much battered week in, week out. Finished bottom of the Championship, you know, losing very much creates a mentality. We saw how Huddersfield struggled with that last season, Sunderland in years previously. It's been a busy summer for Norwich though, and I don't quite think that Daniel Farke completely knows his best 11, but when they do get that nailed down, they've got all the ingredients in there to go on a run this season and absolutely surge up the Championship. 2nd place, we then have Brentford. No questioning the quality in that squad. Maybe it's a little bit more of a mentality thing. Obviously, the game at the weekend was absolutely bonkers. They found themselves 2-0 up against Preston at half-time and then lost the game by 4 goals to 2. Ivan Toney bagged a brace in that one, though. He was looking clinical. We're waiting to see what happens with Sai Benrahma. If Benrahma does stay and they have the likes of Benrahma, Godosson and Bimu with all those creative options in midfield, the likes of the Silvas, the Marcondezes, Norgard's in behind, Brentford is still very much a strong shout for the top 2, but we'll wait and see what happens with that, which of course means winning the Championship on 113 points. We then have Watford. One thing that I have been surprised about with Watford games so far has been the lack of goals, really. They've only scored 2 goals in the Championship so far. Obviously, they've only let 1 in. They kept things really tight at the back, but moving forward, it's an interesting one, obviously, because we've seen Danny Welbeck depart, we've seen Suarez, who I think a lot of Watford fans had thought would play a big role in their season this time round. He's departed. Danny Welbeck, who I don't think anyone expected to say is left as well. And the future of the likes of Andre Grays and Troy Deeney is still very much up in the air with Premier League interest in those 2 players at the moment. So I still feel it's a little bit too early to judge Watford on the 4 games we've seen them. Obviously, it's a new manager coming into the league and things like that as well. There's been a little bit of rotation with the squads that they've gone with so far. So yeah, with Watford, I'm still very much up in the air as to where I think they'll finish this season. Can't see them getting 113 13 points though, I'm not so sure. If we then go ahead and look at some of the other things, so I'm interested to see who FIFA has actually put as the top scorer this season. So Djukovic, oh well, I can't see that happening at Birmingham. Don't get me wrong, he's a fantastic striker, but at the age he is in a Karanka system, I'm not sure I can see him scoring 23 goals. But we will round today off by looking at the playoffs. So the playoff semi-finals, Norwich managed to edge past Nottingham Forest and Bristol City make it through past Bournemouth, setting up a final between Norwich and Bristol City. And going ahead and winning it, we do have Norwich City promoted at the first time of asking via the playoffs. Obviously, Norwich fans will love that. Previously promoted through the playoffs with Preston manager Alex Neil, of course, beating Bristol City 1-0 at Wembley. But there you guys have it. So according to FIFA, the 3 promoted clubs this season are going to be Watford, Brentford and Norwich via the playoffs. Let me know down below if you guys agree with it. But guys, there we have it. That will now wrap it up for today's video. So thank you very much for watching. If you did go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Something like this was just for a bit of fun, really. We'll look back on this at the end of the season. But like I say, if you did go on to enjoy, please do leave a like and make sure to subscribe for a bit of regular championship content. Thank you so much for 29,000 subscribers we hit the other day. Massive shout out to you guys for that. But apart from that, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.